We're here today to talk about Mayor Peduto's proposed 2015 operating and capital budgets. The operating budget and the capital budget are two distinct budgets in the city of Pittsburgh. I'm going to walk through and give you an overview of the operating budget, and Jennifer will take you through the capital budget. As far as the operating budget, that pays for the basic operating functions of city government, such as salaries and benefits for our 3,000 plus employees, materials and supplies that are used by departments across the city, equipment and uniforms, as well as software licenses and other technology expenses, and finally, payments for debt service related to the city's ongoing debt management obligations.
And the capital budget includes larger infrastructure projects like streets and bridges, but also includes the rebuilding of the city's assets such as parks, pools, and playgrounds. Specific funding also goes to neighborhood groups to help focus the rebuilding of our neighborhoods. And funding is also allocated to major economic development projects that are catalysts to revitalizing our neighborhoods.
Let's start talking about the operating budget for 2015. As we begin, I think it's important to highlight what the actual fiscal year is for the city of Pittsburgh, which begins on January 1 of each year. The budget process is outlined in not only city code, but is also outlined in the Act 47 plan and the Intergovernmental Cooperation Authority Agreement with the city of Pittsburgh, which we'll talk about a little bit more in detail. So as I said, the fiscal year for the city begins every year on January 1st. The budget process usually kicks off in May or June of every year, whereas the Office of Management and Budget will prepare budget worksheets for the following fiscal year and distributes them to each department. Revenue projections are also analyzed for the upcoming year. In August and September, the Office of Management and Budget meets with departments to discuss their baseline budgets and priorities for the next year, especially those that are in line with the mayor's priorities for the upcoming fiscal year. In September, the mayor submits his proposed operating and capital budgets and 5-year plan to the Intergovernmental Cooperation Authority. In October and November, the ICA reviews and approves or requests changes to the city's budget. Then, in mid-November, the mayor will formally present his operating and capital budget to the Pittsburgh City Council, which is required to approve enact a budget by the end of the fiscal year. In November and December, City Council holds budget hearings which are televised for the residents of the city of Pittsburgh, and City Council must approve a balanced budget by December 31st of each year. I think it's before we get into the details of the 2015 operating budget, it's important to understand that the city is working under a new recovery plan under Act 47. This is the third recovery plan that the city will be working under over the next 5 years. This is a 5-year plan which outlines the major fiscal priorities and revenue and expenditure projections for the city of Pittsburgh. The Act 47 plan, which was approved by Pittsburgh City Council and signed into law by Mayor Peduto earlier this year, was designed to address the city's current budget needs and as well as provide a solid foundation for future generations. There are 5 major priorities of the recovery plan, which we'll walk through over the next few slides. First is to eliminate the annual operating deficits in the baseline multi-year financial projections while also providing or preserving core municipal services. Second, to gradually reduce the city's debt burden to provide more resources to support daily operations. Third, to keep the city's fund balance at an appropriate level to avoid the need for cash flow borrowings and to provide an adequate buffer against unanticipated revenue shortfalls or expenditure increases that can happen throughout the year. Fourth, gradually increase the city's pension fund contributions to the levels recommended by the city's actuary. And finally, direct more funding to the city's capital budget and infrastructure with the priority to invest more in the city's roads, bridges, police and fire stations, and other core infrastructure that Jennifer will highlight later when we talk about the capital budget. So every year when the city puts together a budget, our goal is to make sure that the budget is aligned with the Act 47 recovery plan priorities. The budget that Mayor Peduto presented to City Council today achieves the primary objectives of the Act 47 plan, but also strengthens the city's long-term financial position. Over the next 5 years, the city is projected to have positive operating results each year of the plan. We will devote more than $25 to $30 million in PAYGO funds to support capital infrastructure needs. We will also maintain a healthy fund balance of at least 10% to guard against unanticipated needs or emergencies, which is a recommended best practice. And this also incorporates other priorities that are outlined in the Act 47 plan. The next slide provides a little bit more detail on what actually makes up the revenues and expenditures of the city's budget. On the revenue side, real estate taxes constitute the largest revenue source for the city of Pittsburgh, comprising about 26% of the city's budget each year, followed by earned income tax, payroll preparation tax, and the parking tax. And then a number of other miscellaneous revenue categories account for an additional 40% of the city's revenue each year. On the expenditure side, most of the city's expenditures are related to salaries and benefits for current and former employees. Operating departments, these are the funds that support the day-to-day operations of all of our departments, comprise a little over 50% of the city's budget each year. Also, debt service payments in 2015 will account for approximately 18% of the city's debt total expenditures. Health benefits will comprise about 13% of the city's budget, as well as pension and funds dedicated to other post-employment benefits for employees no longer with the city or now or in the future, comprise about 13%. And finally, cost for workers' compensation will represent about 4% of the city's budget next year. It is also important to note that the proposed budget reinforces the city's commitment to do more to address legacy costs and improve the city's long-term financial outlook. So I'd just like to highlight a few major points of the 2015 budget and 5-year plan. While debt service is going to projected to be about 18% of the city's budget in 2015, the 5-year plan that the mayor has presented to City Council today will reduce the city's debt burden from 17.6% of total expenditures in 2015 to a low of 8.9% of total expenditures in 2019, which is significantly less than what we're dedicating today. Also, over the course of the next 5 years, the city will increase the amount that is dedicated to the employee pension fund contribution to align with actuarial recommended levels. So in 2015, the city will dedicate a little over $60 million for pension and OPEB obligations, and that amount will rise to just under $90 million in 2019. Also, as in line with recommended practices and the Act 47 plan, the city will maintain a minimum unassigned general fund balance of 10% of our annual general fund revenues. This is to guard against any unanticipated circumstances or emergencies throughout the year and allow the city to meet its payroll at the beginning of the year before major tax revenues start coming in to city's treasury. Also, as I mentioned, the city several years ago started an other post-employment benefits trust fund, which was a national leading practice that the city's been recognized for, and we will continue to dedicate $2.5 million to the trust fund next year and every year over the next 5 years. And finally, to incorporate additional funding into our capital infrastructure needs, over the next 5 years, we will dedicate an additional $25 to $30 million in capital funding to meet the infrastructure needs throughout our city's neighborhoods. And this is consistent with the Act 47 plan that was approved by the city several months ago. I also think it's important to note that the city's financial stewardship has been recognized by the rating agencies. In August of this year, Moody's rating agency raised the city's outlook from A1 stable to A1 positive in advance of the city's $50 million bond issuance. This was also followed by Standard & Poor's maintaining the city's bond rating. So it's important to see that other external organizations are taking notice of what the city's doing from a financial management perspective. And these rating agency opinions or feedback are crucial to lowering the city's cost of borrowing each year. Next, I would like to highlight a couple key components of the city's 2015 budget and 5-year plan. Overall, the 2015 budget and 5-year plan strengthens the city's finances, helps us to modernize city government, and prevents cutbacks in essential services. Some of the key components are outlined on this slide. First, we need to begin with truth in budgeting and transparent financial practices. This is a priority that Mayor Peduto has outlined for his administration, and his first budget as mayor implements those priorities. Second, the 2015 budget eliminates vacant positions and also moderates the growth of wages and benefits. So as part of our approach to shared sacrifice to meet a balanced budget. The budget also includes $10 million in savings by refinancing debt and reducing operating expenses across city departments over the next couple years. Next, the city will continue to increase our capital spending on existing infrastructure for our roads, bridges, parks, and playgrounds, and police, fire, and other city facilities. On the revenue side, there are several key initiatives that are outlined in the 2015 budget. First is a new financial arrangement cooperation agreement with the Pittsburgh Parking Authority, which will allow the city to generate $10 million in additional revenue over the authority's 2013 contribution to the city. This new agreement really is fully implementing this council controller plan that was authorized by the city several years ago when the city averted the state takeover of its pension system. In addition, the budget looks for opportunities to maximize opportunities to generate non-tax revenue. So the city's looked at opportunities to evaluate its miscellaneous fees, permits, and licenses to make sure that the cost of permits and licenses are in line with the cost of providing the service. In addition, as the budget outlines, the revenue neutral millage adjustment to recoup the tax revenue for real estate taxes that was lost when the city reduced the millage rate several years ago. That act created a $35 million hole in the city's budget, and this budget replenishes that money to put the revenue at $128.1 million, which was where the city was projected to be in 2015 before the millage rate was adjusted. And finally, in recognition of best practices, the budget and 5-year plan maintains a minimum fund balance of 10% throughout the next 5 years. And so with the 2015 budget, we are able to bring honesty, transparency, and leading practices to our budgeting and financial management methods, as well as focus on efforts to modernize city government. The next slide highlights some of the major key cost drivers for the city's budget in 2015. When we started the budget process, we identified approximately $23.2 million in increased costs over the 2014 budget. Most of this was related to pensions, healthcare, debt service, and public safety compared to the 2014 budget. In addition, OMB had found that there was approximately $2.2 million in equipment purchases, mostly for public safety, that had been previously paid in the capital budget. However, these items were not in line with capital budget expenditures and therefore needed to be paid out of the operating budget. So this change is reflected in the Act 47 plan and fully implemented in the mayor's 2015 budget. Public safety premium pay is another area where the city is employing its truth in budgeting practices for 2015 as part of the mayor's proposed budget. In years past, this public safety premium pay has never been fully budgeted, or in fact has been under budgeted, requiring significant year-end transfers to cover actual costs. As you can see from this slide, going back to 2011, in each year since then, the actual amount of expenditures for public safety premium pay has exceeded the budget amount by several $1 million. In fact, in 2013, the amount was just under $9 million. As a result of this, end of year transfers were required to cover the shortfalls. And so you may ask yourself, well, where did the city get this money to cover the year-end shortfalls? It was actually as a result of holding positions vacant in other city departments throughout the year, as well as holding approvals for new classes of public safety personnel to generate enough savings. But going forward, as part of our truth in budgeting focus, we're going to have realistic projections for premium pay based on our staffing and operational needs, as well as increased oversight to monitor costs throughout the city. This will allow us to meet and deliver on staffing the public safety bureaus in line with the mayor's priorities for the city, as well as allow other operating departments to meet their operational needs and deliver their core municipal services throughout the year and not have to worry about not being able to fill vacancies. In regard to revenue, the real estate taxes I had mentioned is the city's largest revenue source, but the 2013 millage adjustment created a $35 million hole in the city's 5-year plan. This graph highlights the city's real estate tax revenue and millage rates from 2005 to 2015. And as you can see, in 2014, the city is projected to have less in real estate tax revenue than we did in 2005. This is not a sustainable course of action for a major city government. Prior to 2013's budget, the 5-year plan at that time, approved by Act 47 and the ICA, projected $128 million in current real estate revenue in 2015. Our budget that the mayor has put forth to City Council fully implements the Act 47 recommendation to restore the real estate tax revenue that was lost when the millage rate was reduced in 2013. This will allow the city to restore real estate tax revenue that was lost without relying on one-time initiatives that do not provide sustainable revenue to meet the city's ongoing needs. In addition to a number of revenue and expenditure initiatives, the 2015 budget will continue our efforts to strengthen financial management across the city. We'll continue to adopt leading practices and expand the use of technology. A couple areas in which we're going to be focusing on improving financial management include improving and updating financial management policies and procedures, looking at opportunities to reform procurement, as well as implement best practices across all areas of financial management. Investing in technology is also a key priority for the administration, as we will be seeing a number of key initiatives related to financial management in next year. These include initiatives to improve budgeting, cashiering, asset management, as well as procurement and grants management, as well as we will look to implement credit card acceptance so that customers and constituents, residents of the city of Pittsburgh, can interact with city government in a much more efficient and effective manner. The 2015 budget also includes a number of strategic initiatives to improve the delivery of essential services and enhance the quality of life in our neighborhoods. In the area of public safety, this is also about getting back to basics for the core city services. The 2015 budget provides full funding for 892 police officers, 657 firefighters, and 175 paramedics. And as a result of a new COPS grant that the city received from the U.S. Department of Justice, we'll be able to increase our police presence in the community with over 900 officers, funding for over 900 officers in the next year's budget. In the area of community and economic development, the mayor has announced an exciting new alliance called the Neighborhood Reinvestment Alliance, which will partner with city planning, the Urban Redevelopment Authority, the Housing Authority, and our new departments of permits, licenses, and inspections to work together to promote community and economic development initiatives. We also, in the 2015 budget, have provided increased funding for the Department of City Planning to strengthen its core functions and deliver better customer service due to the amount of growth and development occurring throughout the city. In the area of building inspection and code enforcement, in addition, the transformation of the Bureau of Building Inspection will launch that department into a standalone department called the Department of Permits, Licenses, and Inspections. We will also have implementation of the rental registration law, which will improve privately owned rental properties and hold problem properties accountable throughout the city of Pittsburgh. And finally, as we look to modernize city government and deliver services more efficiently and effectively, there are a number of initiatives that the city departments are working on to improve service delivery, innovation, and transformation, including the use of greater use of technology by the Department of Public Works, such as using snowplow technology and route scheduling software to make sure that services are delivered efficiently throughout the city. As well as the city has a number of initiatives ongoing to leverage grant funding to spur government modernization and develop data-driven management tools for leadership of all city departments. We'll now turn it over to Jennifer to focus on the 2015 capital budget and capital improvement plan.
Thanks, Sam. The 2015 capital budget and capital improvement plan is part of Mayor Peduto's long-term strategic plan for our city's infrastructure and assets. The 2015 capital budget is a $76.6 million budget that is funded by $25 million in bond funds, $10 million in pay-as-you-go funding, an anticipated $13 million in community development block grant funding, and $28.6 million in other funding, consisting of grants and federal and state funding. The projects that are included in the mayor's capital budget are recommended from different sources. Projects that are recommended and then prioritized are received through resident requests from 311 calls, testimony given at public hearings, and feedback received on the city's website. Departments such as Public Works maintain a list of priority projects that are recommended to be funded, and council members are well versed in the capital needs in their community, so their input is extremely valuable. A lot goes into the prioritization of projects and the preparation of the capital budget. A committee known as the Capital Program Facilitation Committee, or the CPFC, includes representatives of the mayor, city council, the city controller, and city departments. This committee meets regularly throughout the year and recommends projects to be included in the capital budget to the mayor. The formal process begins in April when the mayor releases the capital priorities. This year's priorities include public safety, neighborhood and community development, infrastructure improvements, and innovation and performance. In May, departments and city council members submit their project proposals to the CPFC. In June and July, the CPFC ranks and prioritizes projects. In September and October, the CPFC solicits feedback from citizens at public hearings for consideration in the capital budget. And in November, the mayor submits the capital budget to city council and to the public. The format of the capital budget is very different this year. It is the city's intent to make this document more user-friendly and more informative. Consistent with past years, the capital budget includes the capital improvement program, which shows the budgeted amount for 2014, 2015, and the next few years, 5 years. Each project also includes a detailed description, reason for the project, and impact on the operating budget, as well as a list of deliverables for each project in 2015 with their location, expected duration, and projected cost. It is important to note, however, that these deliverables are subject to change as emergencies arise. Each project has been grouped into a functional area to show where capital funding is being spent. The functional areas include engineering and construction, which is the largest functional area, and it's funded at $42 million. This area consists of projects such as paving, bridges, streetlights, and other large infrastructure projects. Facility improvements are funded at $8.8 million, and projects included in this area consist of city-owned facilities like recreation and senior centers, pools, parks, and other city assets. Public safety is funded at $2.6 million in 2015 and includes strategic demolition, backup generators at our emergency shelter sites, and other projects that focus on the safety of the public and our city employees. Neighborhood and community development is funded at $8.7 million and includes Main Street improvements, major developments, and other neighborhood projects and initiatives. Administration and pass-through is funded at $9.1 million and is mostly made up of projects funded through the Community Development Block Grant funding, such as community group support, housing assistance, but also includes technology improvements at the city. A few key highlights of the 2015 capital budget includes $12 million for street resurfacing, which is about 50 miles of road. Major city, state, federal projects, such as the $19 million Greenfield Bridge replacement, $1 million Penn Avenue reconstruction, and $600,000 in smart traffic signals. Nearly $3 million in bicycle and pedestrian safety improvements, $690,000 in improvements to senior and recreation centers in Allentown, the South Side, Morningside, Hazelwood, Greenfield, Carrick, and Sheridan. $360,000 to URA loan and grant programs to help neighborhood business owners with storefronts, facades, and Main Street improvements. $700,000 for the Summer Youth Employment Program, in addition to working with the businesses and philanthropic communities to promote earning and learning for our Pittsburgh youth. $5 million to continue modernizing our city vehicle fleet. $2.4 million for the first phase of the Choice Neighborhoods transformation of Larimer, developing 334 mixed income housing units and green infrastructure. Also $2 million for targeted demolition. And these are just a few of the important projects to be funded in the 2015 capital budget. Sam will go through the next steps for the 2015 budget.
So now that the mayor has presented the 2015 budget to City Council, City Council will, over the next few weeks, start to hold televised public hearings with each city department and authority about their 2015 budget. These will be televised on the city's cable channel for residents to view. City Council may make amendments to the budget and will vote to approve the operating and capital budgets in December, as they are required to have a balanced budget by the end of the year. The budget will, once approved by City Council, will be returned to the mayor for signature. And in January 1 of 2015, the city will start its new fiscal year with an approved operating and capital budgets in place to begin the budget implementation cycle for next year. For additional information about the City of Pittsburgh's 2015 budgets, please visit the city's website at www.pittsburghpa.gov.